All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is 2 o'clock. I know you guys got stuff to do, so I'm going to go ahead and hop to it just so we can get you guys going with your day. We are a small group. I think at most, like right now, we have 12 people. I think at our largest, we're going to be at like 15 possibly, so people hop in. We are a small group on purpose. So if you have questions, as I go through the presentation, just let me know because we can definitely pause it. I try to check out the chat, but honestly, I'm not great with the chat when I'm working solo and something like this. So I will do my best, but just holler if there's something you need, and we can get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share the sound too. Okay, share the screen. Okay, all right. And so hopefully we see a slide that says, oop, it's loading, concurrent teaching PD. Okay, all right. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what entering the building is going to look like. We have several tools available to be checked out to try and facilitate the transition back to the room and make it as as strong an instructional experience as possible for teachers and students. So what this means is that we have webcams available for checkout, document cameras available for checkout, and iPads that can be used as a second screen for checkout as well. The hope and the goal is that teachers do check these things out because we're going to use them when we're back in the building. And just a few things about that. Well, before we do that, materials and resources, please don't feel like you have to write everything down. Let me stop sharing my screen here for a second. I'm going to put in the chat a link to everything I'm going to show you guys. So let me get to that here real quick. All right, I'm going to copy this real quick. Sorry. Okay. All right, so in the chat, you currently have a link, and I'm going to share that real quick. The link that you have is to everything I'm going to go over with you guys. So, for example, right now you should see the screen. This presentation is going to be there. I made a one pager just about your computer in general, like what is a USB hub if you don't know what I'm talking about. A one pager on the document camera also. This is a YouTube video I made, or a video I made just to show what these things look like when they're working together in a lesson. So there's a YouTuber called Pocketful of Primary. I forget her name. But she's really good. She's an elementary school teacher, and she actually did a whole session on virtual teaching using a second screen and using a document camera as well. Like I said, she's an elementary teacher, so she also has that little extra spin on elementary that I know I lack, but I'm working on. And then last but not least, there's also a one pager here on Duet. And Duet is the software that we're going to use the iPad as a second screen. So let me come back to this. So I'm sorry if I just get a thumbs up. So are we now seeing the screen says materials and resources? Okay, cool. Sorry, because I did this once and I was a couple times completely wrong screens. Okay, so everything's available in the chat. If you lose that link, just email me. I can send it all back to you. I just want you guys to just think about what's going on and not worry about writing everything down. Ask questions as we go. And if you want to save them for the end, that's fine too. Okay, so a few things here. When we go back into the building, we have not gotten our surveys, but we haven't sent them out yet. I have no idea what the plan is. We don't know what the plan is. There's some kind of a plan. The plan changes, and that's okay because we're going to teach kids no matter what happens. We're still teaching. But what we do know is based off of the surveys we got back last time in October when we thought we were going back in the building, was that we know we're not going to have all of our students. Some students will stay home for health reasons, safety concerns, or whatever else. So we know we're not going to have everybody there. So what that means is that we're actually going to have two different populations when we return back to the school, roomies and zoomies. Roomies are going to be the kids that you guys actually see when they're in the room, and then zoomies will be the kids that you're teaching virtually or online. So we know we're going to have two different groups of students. We don't know for sure how many are going to be in each population until we get the surveys back, which may or may not be happening Friday, but that was as of the town hall that we were all a part of on the Friday that Peter did. So that's where we're at on that one. Okay. If you could here real quick, if you don't mind just saying hi in the chat or something, this is how I'm doing attendance. They updated Zoom, and I lost my ability to, and I probably lost a license too. I'm ashamed, but I lost the ability to run meeting reports, so I can't actually see who all the attendees are. So you say hi, what's up, whatever, just something in the chat, just so I have a record you were here. It makes it a lot easier for me when I go back, so I can say, oh yeah, I'm doing that, highlighting the rosters and all that fun stuff. So that's the bureaucratic part of this. Okay, the webcam. The webcam is the most important tool that we have available, and it's one that hopefully everybody will use. I'm going to stop sharing here just for 1 second. So the webcam allows you to change your perspective really easily. So like right now, this is not exciting because you're looking at me in my office. I know it's boring, but in an instructional purpose, this is actually pretty good, and it toggles very easily just with the click of a button. So you have your FaceTime. You can, if your kids on Zoom have a question, you can check in with them real quick. Toggle again. Go back to your broader view of your classroom, so you can have the whole classroom view, and then go back to your FaceTime view once again. The important thing here about the webcam, and this is really, really important, everybody is going to use the webcam. As I share my screen again, everybody's going to use the webcam because the webcam has a microphone in it. And so that's going to be really important because you guys know probably by now at the house, the microphones built into our computers are not good. But the webcam microphones are really good, and you can actually hear them no matter where you are in the room. So the students can hear you wherever you are in the room. So it's going to be a really good tool. And so let me do this. Oh, one other thing too, real quick. I'm a big believer, as a classroom teacher, I'm a big believer in helping myself out. I picked one of these guys up. It's like a little tripod type situation. I got this at Best Buy for $20. It's really good because I can lock it in position. And the fact that I can lock the webcam into position means I can also use it as a document camera. Which is a really good alternative use for the webcam as well. So whether you're going to set it up as a station so kids can see what's happening, or you want to have a document camera handy as well, it's a good thing to have. And the tripods are really good, and they can be as low as $10, but they help out with the placement of the webcam a lot. I have a very short video for you guys. It's just like just a minute here on setting up the webcam and how the webcam kind of works. Just like a little tutorial as well. So this is our webcam. Hopefully you guys can hear it.
One of our webcams has the speaker, the camera, speaker on the other side as well. It is adjustable, so it can be tilted. It can be placed on a smart board or a computer. It has a mount as well, so it can be placed on a tripod. Teachers will be allowed to place these wherever they'd like in the room. The tech team can help facilitate setting those up. Another version of a webcam we have, this one is a little more adjustable in that this one swivels. It can be placed, again, on a laptop, smart board, what have you, camera, microphone, and all of them are USB, which means they're plug and play. You just plug in your computer and it is ready to go. And again, teachers will be able to place these in the room wherever they would like. Your traditional view from your integrated camera that came with your computer, so it's the one that's up top right up there. It's really easy to change microphones and cameras for your webcam. So once they're plugged in, just go to the microphone. You can utilize it should be in the drop-down list. So there's my webcam right there. So you're talking to your Zoom kids, whatever else you're checking in, how's your day going, whatever. Your lesson begins. You click on the camera, you change it to your webcam, and now you have your webcam view. The webcam view is based off of wherever you place it in the classroom, and so you can teach your lesson, you can walk around, you can angle it so you're pointing at the smart board if you'd like. You can share your screen, we'll talk about how to do that later. But so the webcam, it's basically set in that view, really simple to change views. Once again, up arrow. Maybe you have a student who you can see has a question or concern. You talk to them on Zoom real quick while the students behind you are working an assignment. Answer that question, then you go back to your webcam view once again, very easily, just toggle, go back to teaching, you're walking around the room, you're working with your kids, and then.
Okay, so anyway, we got it. But so again, the webcam is gonna be really important just because of the microphone aspect. And the computer one's really not, the computer microphone's not all that great. So we will definitely use the webcam, at least for the microphone. And so, but you can set it up however you'd like in your classroom as well. So just putting that out there.
Hey everyone, This is the introduction.
Sorry, okay. The document camera. Okay, we're talking about here is the traditional document camera. Okay, and full disclosure, last time I talked to the tech team, which was on Thursday of last week, we had two document cameras left. They're on back order. We've been told that they'll be coming in the next couple of days, but just putting that out there. So there are a few. So if you're really desperate for a web or a document camera, you might want to reach out to them, pretty quickly. The other thing about document cameras, though, is that we have a wide variety of document cameras. We buy them when we need them. This is the typical one right here. So I've got one at the house just for training purposes. But there's a wide variety of document cameras. So I'm not going to go in depth in the document camera only because there are so many different ones. And I'm not even sure which one we have purchased. But the onboard controls, these are the controls you'll use for most document cameras when you plug it in. So the red one right here, it lets you flip the image. So if you first turn on your document camera and your image is backwards or upside down, you just hit that red button and it'll flip it. The turquoise button is the focus. So the document cameras do autofocus the same as the webcam. However, if you're doing something with your hands, you can use the purple button, which locks the focus. So like if you're drawing or writing or doing manipulatives in a science lab or something like that, you can actually lock the focus so it isn't constantly going back and forth. And these are the onboard controls. These are the controls that you're probably going to use the most. On the next page, this is the software controls. We are not going to use this, and I'm not going to spend any time on this because I realized once I started getting into it that they're different for all of the different cameras. But the good news for us, so how this works out, is that once you plug your document camera into your computer and you're in Zoom, you share your document camera the same way you share your webcam. So from that right next to your camera, there's that up arrow. When you click on the up arrow, you'll have like your FaceTime camera, your document camera, or whatever else. Oh, wait, I think somebody's got their sound on. If you can mute that, I can do it too if I need to, but just putting it out there. And you'll notice that the first time I plugged in my document camera, my image was backwards. I just hit that one blue button to flip it, and there you go. I was good to go. So the onboard controls, these controls are going to be the ones you're going to use the most when you're working with your students on Zoom if you're using a document camera. So just putting that out there. iPad has a second screen. Okay. Full disclosures. I'm all about transparency here. We looked into purchasing a bunch of second monitors for teachers because that would have been ideal. Truthfully, we didn't know how long COVID was going to last. It was a huge investment to buy roughly 200 monitors that we might only use for like a week or two. Like we didn't know how long this was going to go. So the plan became to use Duet and iPads as a second monitor. Again, it's not ideal. It's a pretty good workaround, but I'm just throwing that out there as to why we didn't have monitors. And this slide is also wrong, and that says USB or a Wi-Fi. We actually went with the USB version, and I'll explain that right here. What happens when you so you're going to plug in your iPad to your computer, because when we did it over the Wi-Fi, there was a lot of drag and everything was like really choppy and it looked really, really rough. And then it also turns out with Duet, you have to pay a lot more money for the Wi-Fi version anyway. So you are going to plug it in. And this is a 30-second video. There's no sound in this video, but this shows the process and what it looks like. And I'm sorry, I should also say too, Duet works with both Windows machines and Apple machines. So no matter what computer you have, when you plug your iPad and you turn on Duet, you'll be able to use it as a second monitor. So this is kind of how it works. So that's just my computer, and I'm in Zoom right there. I'm launching Zoom. When you plug it in, so you notice right now I'm plugging my iPad into my computer. I'm going to launch the Duet app right there. You just touch it once it's installed. The Duet app is looking for a computer. That's the blue thing. It found it. And now I can drag Zoom over to my iPad and use it as a second screen. So the idea is that you'll be able to use that to communicate with your students while you're still doing things on your computer, and then potentially moving it over to the smart board also, or something like that. Oh, don't need that a second time. Nope, got it. Okay. A few things about Duet also is when you're launching the program on your computer, you want to put it in the lowest settings possible. As in, like, you can either do 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second. Go for 30. Put it in low resolution. Don't use the retina stuff. The higher the quality, the choppier the images. We're not making movies, so we don't really need to have like the full experience. You don't need to see the shadows in my face, even though the beard is booming right now and all that fun stuff. You don't need all of that. And it's really negligible as far as performance goes. But if you put everything on high, then once again, you'll have choppy kids. They may fade in, they may fade out. The audio comes in and comes out. So that's going to be something you're going to put, again, on the lowest resolution possible. One other cool thing about the iPads, I'm really excited about this. Drew spent some money and got an MDM. And so what this means is that the tech team can now control all of the iPads or one iPad individually. So if you've ever used the iPad cart and you said, man, I wish Keynote was on the iPads, you can tell the tech team, they can push a button and push Keynote out to all the iPads that you have. And I say that because let's say you get the iPad back to the house, you say, I really wish Google Classroom was on the iPad. You can contact Tamika Penny, and she's our new tech person, so they put her over the iPads. That is her email address, but just communicate with Tamika that you want a certain application on the iPad, and she can push it out through you via the MDM. Same thing goes with Duet. Duet, we just got it, so it may or may not be on your iPad. Hopefully it is. Fingers crossed it should be. But if it's not, simply email Tamika once again, and she can push it out to your iPad. And this is the way it's going to work for free apps. Apps that we have to pay for, honestly, we might fill out a purchase order or something like that. If the program you would like to use on iPads, like for a class, you need a class set, in the future when we're back in the building, that's something that we would need to figure out, to be totally honest. But right now, we just want to make sure that we had the iPads going for second screens. But this is just something really exciting because I know we didn't use the iPads because they were filling up with storage and stuff like that. So this is something down the line, but it's something that can be really cool to use for classes in the iPads themselves. Okay. And so what we've got here is just a quick video on what these tools look like meshed together. And this really is the important part of the presentation. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip to that here real quick. And then I'm gonna skip over some other parts too. But this is basically what these tools are gonna look like in your classroom.
Will be able to place webcams wherever they want in the room, depending upon the view. They can also double as a document camera. Teachers will also have access to a second monitor that they can use. It's a great way to keep your students engaged on Zoom, so you can keep them up the whole time while you're teaching your lesson. So this is a demonstration that I set up in a classroom at Drew. On the left, you can see what the student view would look like. On the right is the view that's coming from my computer. That's the integrated camera right there. And I'm going to toggle through. So I'm using the up arrow to go to the webcam. And the webcam is set up so you can see the classroom view. So that's what the classroom looks like. I'm going to point to it and walk around. So this is what it would look like to your Zoom students as you were teaching to your classroom via the webcam. Okay, so here I'm running a lesson off of the computer and sharing the screen via Zoom. And so once I get into present mode, then and can share the screen, I can run the lesson from the smartboard. The smartboard still works. As you can see, I'm presenting both screens. You can see that on Zoom. The touch capabilities still work. You can touch through your presentation. You can actually get out and go to a Nearpod lesson also. So you're teaching your students on Zoom, still see what's happening. You can click on different lessons. This is a Nearpod loading. So once the Nearpod loads, then students will be able to see it. So you can exit your presentation. You can go through your Nearpod slides or do whatever you need to do. And then you can get back into your presentation as it was before. So this is actually a student workstation that I set up. This is what your students would see while you're teaching. So this is from the traditional Zoom integrated camera. You can see students, it works just as it normally would. Students get their normal view. When you toggle the screens, this is going to be the webcam view. So the webcam view, you can walk around, talk to your students, teach your lesson as you normally would. Your students get the view of what's happening, and they can still feel like they're a part of the lesson, whether they're on hybrid or it's just their day to not be in class. And this is what they see when you share your screen. So this is what happened when I was working off of the smartboard. While I'm on the smartboard, students can see everything happening on the smartboard, including the presentation, various YouTube videos, the screencastifies, even the Nearpod situation still works. So everything still works from the smartboard and the student view. So this is what a sample lesson could look like at Drew Charter School.
Let's skip ahead here just for a sec. Okay.
And I've got my lesson. Okay. As you can see, the second monitor's up and running with the students on Zoom at home. It's good to check in with them at the beginning of class with everybody else to make sure they feel like they're part of the classroom environment. Direct instruction is a great way to get started as well. So this way everybody's on the same page and everybody is receiving the same content at the same time so that everybody knows the lesson that day and everybody knows the content. It's good to check in with your students on Zoom also to make sure they know what's happening in class and to make sure that everybody understands the day's lesson. You notice my Zoom student will be working on the same assignment as my classroom students during the student work period. During this time, the students in the classroom work independently on an assignment while your Zoom students work on the same assignment. And it'd be important to circle back and check in with your Zoom students to see if they have any questions about the day's lesson, to make sure they understand everything and just make the connections about the daily assignment. You'll notice here that I'm plugging in the document camera. USB management is going to be an issue. It's going to be important to understand how many ports you have available on your computer. This will help determine what devices you use and how you use them in your classroom. The document camera integrates the smartboard, obviously.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there because you can see the document camera's on, all that stuff. The thing that I really wanted to point out was that the USB port management is going to be an issue. And so what that means is that we have a wide variety of computers at Drew as well. Some of you and when I say USB port, it's the rectangular slot on the side of your computer. It's going to be really important to know how many of those you have. Some of you guys have 2, some of you have 4, okay? And it's okay, we can work this too, but and I say that because the webcam takes a USB slot, the document camera takes a USB slot, the smartboard plugs in via an HDMI, which is a different slot everybody has, but if you use the smartboard and the touch feature, you have to have the USB in there also. My smartboard touch never works, so I never got used to using the touch feature. But if you're somebody who uses a USB, who uses the touch, that's going to be something you're going to want to think about, as you think about how you're going to set up your room and what tools you'd like to use. They do make a tool called the USB hub. And what it is, it's a splitter. Basically, you plug in one USB and it has 3 different USBs on it. Full disclosure, Drew has ordered those. They are on back order. I've been told they're going to be here, but I'm also a big fan of helping myself. Best Buy's got them right now for $8. If you are worried about USB management, I would probably go pick one up just so you don't have to worry about it. But that's just me. So just throwing that out there. Those are the big things as far as the tools are concerned.
Hey everyone.
Sorry, let me get rid of that. Okay. Okay, and so there's only like 2 or 3 more slides here left. So the next step is, how do you get your gear? Okay, you've been through the PD. How do you get your stuff to practice with it? So there's 2 things going on. One, the tech team originally said they wanted people there on Wednesdays or Fridays to pick up their gear. And I asked teachers to please email them before you showed up on a Wednesday or a Friday, just in case. They know what you want because they have access to the form that you filled out to attend the session. But when people emailed them and said, hey, I'm going to come by Wednesday to come grab my document camera, the tech team sent them this Sign Up Genius form, which is in the presentation. You guys have access to that through the presentation. And that sign up form is Monday through Friday. So I guess it doesn't really matter when you show up. But you may want to reach out to them before I don't want you just to show up there and be like, I need this, and have them say they don't have it. So you would want to reach out to them first. They are in the tech team is in the SA. They're in the orchestra room. But what you can do is just simply walk up to go to the SA, go to the front desk. Lonnie or one of the security guys will be there. Just say you need the tech team. They can ring the tech team for you. Tell them you're here to pick up a document camera or whatever else, and then they can grab it. They have everything like post-it notes and labeled and who's getting what. They can grab your stuff, and then off you go to work with it. And so that's kind of it. This is my last bit, and then I can handle questions or anything. Is just keep in mind that we're not in this alone. We, meaning you as teachers, I think it's great if you could get these things to practice with them in advance before you have a live audience in front of you, meaning your students. So just practicing with them and getting used to them will be a great way to get started. You guys know that if and when we ever return to the building, the plan has always been for teachers to arrive a week before the students do. That week that you guys are up there getting your room squared away, trying to find your stuff that's probably, all over the place, whatever else that's been taken out for cleaning. That week you guys are up there, the tech team and I will help you get your room set up. Make sure you've got everything you need to be successful. We don't have a place where you need to put the webcams. You can put them anywhere you want in your room, wherever you think that would be best. Science teachers, you are the priority on this one, and you are the priority for carts with wheels. And the reason why science teachers are the priority is because labs, especially in the JA and the SA, if they have to move around to get to different areas, with students, it's really hard to move all this stuff. So science teachers, we do have carts. I know we have a total of 20. You don't get all 20, but you get one where you can put your stuff on it. And then with electricals, you could actually wheel it to the back of the science lab to do your labs or what have you, whatever would be easiest and best for you guys. But again, teachers, the tech team and I will be there that week you are there to help set up your room and get you guys ready to make sure that you are successful. So we will all figure this out. We'll get everybody squared away to make sure that your room is ready to go. And so that's what I got. Just once again, if you joined us a little late, that's okay. You can just say hi in the chat or just drop me a line. So this is how I'm going to take attendance. I don't have the ability to run meeting reports anymore. And at this point in time, I can go ahead and field questions you guys have. If you don't have any questions, thanks for hanging out with me. But I will hang out and just tackle any questions you guys might have for me.